In 1864, Leslie Robert Menzies was born in the United States of America. The lure of gold was strong in his heart, and he heard about Australia where gold was being found, and so he came to Australia, to the Murchison Goldfields. It says here that he had a number of wealthy backers that would support him in his quest to find gold, and so he came to Western Australia. He teamed up with a guy by the name of George Shenton and a number of wealthy other people, and the pair of them, with an Aboriginal tracker named Jimmy Cumbra and an Afghan cameleer, set out from Kalgoorlie and travelled to 90 Mile, Goongarrie, and here they met J.J. Brown and his party, who found gold 20 miles to the north. Menzies agreed to inspect the find with a view of purchasing it, but while at the shaft they ran short of water. Backtracking to the rock soak east of 90 Mile, they made a disastrous but fortunate navigational error. Steering too far west, they went past Brown's camp, literally stumbled upon a rich alluvial deposit of gold. Their lease was registered on October 1894, sparking a massive rush to the area. Many mines sprang up, but none surpassed the original strike, known as Lady Shenton. They found gold in the area, and the town of Menzies was proclaimed on the 20th December 1895, and the first council was elected in January 1896, with Harry Gregory as the chairman. There's more to the story of Menzies, but that's about how it started. They found gold here, and the man Leslie Robert Menzies, the town was named after him, as he found the first strike of the Lady Shenton. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the video about the history of this great little town. Well, here we stand here, and this is in Menzies. And this is the side of an old baker's oven that was, I think, was built in the 1930s. And as you can see, the door at the front there where they would have put the dough in. But they were saying that the only early form of bread was just simple bread or damper, and it was very popular amongst the miners because bread had lasted a long time and you could travel with it for a long time, and they used to just live on bread and canned meat and cups of tea. And but yeah, you know, you come to those little towns, there's always something interesting to look at. And here's a bit of a symbol, oh, not a symbol, a statue. Around the town there's all little statues that are points of interest. And as you can see, the old cast iron doors, you know, just incredible, 100 years old. And 1 pound of white straight from the oven, that'll be 7 pence, please. 7 pence for a 1 pound loaf of bread. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, this statue is about the Wongi tribe, W-O-N-G-I, Wongi tribe, and it talks about how they, you know, one of their favourite meals was to catch a kangaroo and eat the kangaroo. And they say that for Aboriginals that, you know, the most delicate part was the tail. And I can remember when I was a kid, just let this car go past. I can remember when I was a kid, my dad used to have kangaroo tails and that, and they're really quite delicious. As we know, the Aboriginals like to cook the kangaroo in the ashes, and on this little bit of information here it says that for the Wongi tribe the other favourite bit was the backbone, which often has a lot of the most tender meat. And it says here that the intestines were cleaned and the liver and the heart and all that sort of thing were put in, and it made it a pudding. It was hung up in the tree and then it was eaten cold. Well, that's quite interesting. But yeah, a little point of interest. So here we have a building that was originally 2 shops, and it says that it was built in about 1900, and they were used up to the 1950s. And one was a tea room and one was a butcher shop. And if you look kind of closely, there's a old picture of what it kind of looked like in the old days, and I'll just show you what they look like today. So this one here, I don't know if you can see in there, but And then this one here was, they say, was really set up for the butcher shop. They've just got a few displays in there now for points of interest. But yeah, it's really interesting. In Menzies here, it is pretty windy. Don't know why, but it is. But this one sort of remembers the Wives of the Miners, which talks about, it says, "Oh, I wish this wind would stop. As soon as I hang out the washing, it's dusty again." And it's a tribute to all the women who lived here in such harsh conditions 100 years ago. And keep in mind here, the temperatures I'm sure would touch 50 degrees pretty often in summer, and certainly would have been hard living. It's quite incredible, you know, you come to Menzies and before when the wind died down, I stood in the street and I talked, and it was so quiet that my voice echoed off all the buildings. And but you could drive through and think, oh, it's not much here, but if you get out and have a look around, oh gee, you know, just the history, if you like history, which I do, and it's pretty interesting. The Menzies Hotel. You imagine, you know, I don't know when that was built, but I'm sure it's one of the original buildings. You know, you come to these old gold mining towns and the gold miners would come into the pub and have a beer, and yeah, it's quite incredible really. It's not operational at the moment, but apparently a new person's coming to take over the lease and open it up again. But it's pretty good. Now this, the Pioneer store it was called, and this was built in April 1896. Well, actually, and the shop, beg your pardon, at 1895. And it was a kind of little store, you know, if you remember when you were a kid, it had everything in it, you know, they had books and fancy goods and all sorts of products that people could come into town and buy and take back to their mining leases and things. But here's the store here. And here it is. Inside at the moment it's just like an Aboriginal art gallery, but you know, an old store's been here for just a century. It's quite incredible really, and yeah, it's very interesting to look at. You know, in every mining town there are always the red light ladies. This one's called the Red Light Lady, which we all know is who worked in the brothels and things. And it says, "Step inside, you handsome man. My sheets are clean and my price is keen. The Red Light Lady." So, what I'm going to show in a minute is the original hotel in Menzies. And this was built in 1895 by a man named Harry Gregory. And he was the first mayor of Menzies and the first local member of state parliament. And says the place changed hands a number of times in the late 1890s, and in 1902 the owners, Teague and Wilson, had the whole structure dismantled and rebuilt in brick and iron. The fires that had destroyed both the Lady Shenton and the Railway Hotel in the previous year had prompted this action to prove to be wide to be a bit more fireproof in case their fires came in future time. But we'll go and have a look at the old building. So this is the original Menzies Hotel, and it's a cafe that's open on the weekends now. But you know, you look at all those old bricks in there, well over 100 years of age. It's quite pretty amazing really, isn't it? But we'll have a bit of a look from the corner. The original Menzies Hotel still stands today. It's got a new roof on it, but I'd love to have a look inside. So this building here is the original post office in Menzies, and it was built in 1896, and in 1898 they had 26 postal staff working here, as Menzies, known as a gold area, grew very rapidly. And yeah, it's just a quite an amazing old building. But I'll step back and show you a little bit of this is the old post office of Menzies, the original post office. And I'd say that timber frame and the roof up there would be the original timber. Look at that, that's incredible. But yeah, very good, rich in history, this little town. Often when you go to these little towns you see trees like this, pine trees, and all these seeds for these pine trees come from England, and but you see them grow all throughout the countryside. This building here is the original town hall and shire offices, and in that photo there is part of the community held in the 1930s of all the people that lived in Menzies, and they had a night where they had a ball, and how grand that would have been. But this building was made in 1901, so I'll just show you the front of it. Thanks, you just put your finger right through the picture. No worries. And we'll go and have a look at the building. 1896 maybe, could be the thing. So here's the original front of the shire office. It's been here for, well, it says 1896 on the roof. So there you go, but it's quite amazing, isn't it? Well, there you go, there's a cornerstone there, 1896. Just as a point of interest, when they used to build old buildings in the old days, they had a stone called the cornerstone, and that was the first brick, that was the first stone laid from which the rest of the building was built upon. And sometimes the dates they give is from when that cornerstone was first laid, and then the building was built on top of it. My lungs are giving out, but the only work to be had around here is underground, and this is a memorial to all those that worked underground in the mines. So this story is about the Wongi people, which is the Aboriginal tribe that lived around here, and the story is about when the train used to travel up and down between Kalgoorlie and Leonora, and it talked about a family who they used to take food, and when they see the Wongi people, the culture around here was to sort of share everything, so they always made sure the Wongi people had some food, and they used to make food and take them something to eat. But yeah, taking tucker to the train, that's what it was called. This one's about how the Wongi people learnt to, it says here, Wongi people learned to dance the whitefella way early on, but had to wait decades before being allowed to attend local events. The blacksmith. And a Saturday morning at the shop, talks about the young people had a little bit of money that they'd go to the shop on a Saturday morning and buy something at the shop. Part of an old boiler, which would have been part of a mine somewhere or something. Look at those old cars. Wow, that's quite incredible. Look at that. Even the old springs are still there all these years later. Wow, old petrol tank. Can you imagine driving with that on a long hot day? And so much of it's still here. Probably still turn around those wheels. Over here, road roller, as you can see. Old truck over there, tip truck. Wow, it's amazing. You know, you see on YouTube old trucks like this, and they get them going. They sit there for years, and yet inside of them they're still alright. And they change oil and muck around a bit, and they get them working. Over here's an old winch that would have lowered stuff down into a mine shaft. Not sure what these are. Oh yeah, couple old winches. It's like different pumps. Old cart from the horses. Yeah, old tractor kind of thing, steam tractor. Old grader. Now this is a memorial to a man by the name of Ahmed, and he was an Afghan cameleer, one of dozens who had camels, and they transported goods from one place to another. And they used to carry building iron, bags of flour, cases of tinned dog meat. That was a popular thing to eat back in those days, tinned dog meat apparently. And this is a memorial to, he used to take stuff to a place called Mount Malcolm, but I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. This memorial is to remember the Wongi people, the Aboriginal people. And back in the 1800s, 1900s, there used to be a lot of Europeans living here, so they introduced lots of kind of food. And this memorial here is just to remind, as a remembrance to how the Wongi people bought lots of food from the European people back in those days. They bought grapes and basketfuls of bread, and it was it's very, very good. Well, I hope you like that little tour of Menzies. As I said earlier on, you can get here and you think, oh, there's not much here. You get out and walk around, read all the information and the history of the place, and it's quite incredible. I just read a little thing there saying that they used to have postie guys deliver mail on push bikes, and they'd ride up to 65, 70 miles just to deliver a letter to somebody, which is quite incredible. But yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed it. Got a last look of Menzies. What did you think of that, Tots?
Oh yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, just all the stories of what's happened here, and the people that live, just life in general here. So just remember, when you're travelling around, you might go through a town, you think, oh, that's not much there, but get out and have a look, because there's always a story that is really interesting.
So you think like now there's only, well, a handful of people that lived here, but there used to be hundreds of people.
Yeah, lots and lots of people. Very good. All right, we'll catch you next time. Well, we came to gold country. I got some Menzies gold, 24 karat gold, just for a bit of a souvenir. It's pretty good. Very good.